Cast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Oh, okay. Somebody must have hit something.
I actually did not. I was just waiting. I was just hearing you actually.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, same.
Please, yes, a couple of my colleagues have joined in here. So Bharat and Seher are also on the line, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, no problem.
Hey guys, you guys, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear everybody fine.
All right.
Okay, so we actually
The software.
the broadcast has already actually begun. So that's actually, it wasn't supposed to start. If somebody hits start broadcast or *1 on their phone, it automatically starts the broadcast. It's not a problem. It's just I want to give you guys the rundown really quickly and get the screen share set up because we're gonna have attendees start to come on the line and they'll be able to hear us communicate with each other right now since the broadcast already begun.
Okay.
So who has the main presentation deck? Who's gonna be driving the slides?
All right. So
All three are going to be doing that. It's going to be starting with Bharat, followed by me, and then Karishma. So there's three of us going to be talking, different times for different products. But yeah, Bharat's going to be starting, but eventually we all three of us will need the access or the presenter, option.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna start with Barat, and then we're gonna go to Sagar.
Yeah. So actually, Sean, I'll tell you what. Instead of switching it thrice, so you start with Bharat, and then he's gonna end it. I'm gonna start the introduction, and I'm gonna pass it on to Karishma, so you can include Bharat and Karishma as presenters.
All right, cool. Okay, so I'm gonna start with Barat. So Barat, right now you're gonna get a presenter prompt to share your screen. All you're gonna do is hit OK, and I'll be able to make sure that we can see your screen. Okay.
all right. Show my screen. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yep, I see it. It's perfect. Okay, awesome. Okay, so when we start the broadcast, I'm going to be on the back end, okay? So usually what I like to do is I let the people who know about your company, obviously you guys know more about your company and yourself and your role with the company. So I like to leave the introduction up to you guys. What's going to happen is at 2 o'clock, we usually like to give them about a minute or two extra to get people to, start to join. People are always filing in a little late. So we'll give them a little extra minute after about 2 past the hour, and then we'll start the broadcast. What I'm going to ask, though, if anybody who is not presenting to begin, if you could, right next to your name, if you see where attendees is, it says staff. Right next to your name over there, you're going to see there's a click to mute. I would just like, if you're not presenting and you're not speaking, if you could just put yourself on mute. That would be great, just so there's no background noise or anything like that. I know people have kids at home and puppies and pets, so if you guys could put yourself on mute, that would be fantastic if you're not presenting.
I am trying to find. Is that the green button on the left?
Yeah, it should.
Yeah.
It should be like a little microphone, and you could click it, and it'll mute yourself. And you could unmute yourself by clicking there as well.
Got it. All right.
Muted.
Okay. Cool. Sean, is there anything else that we need to know? Sagar, Karishma, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had a question. When I have to change the presenter, do I have to click on anything, or should I just update you about it?
Oh, yeah, it's on your on the toolbar. If you can go on chat and change it to organizers only, then we can chat with Sean on it and tell him if something's off or not working properly.
Just look for chat here then. Do you know where the chat is? Questions?
In the toolbar.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi.
I just changed it to organizers only.
Cool. So I had another question. Do we do questions after every ad? Do we do questions after every ad description, or should we do questions at the end of the webinar?
One after the other maybe makes sense.
Okay. So maybe while they switch the presenter, then I can just keep it open for questions. And while KP sets up, once KP is ready, then she can take it forward.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
I don't think I ever use this GoToWebinar. That's pretty cool though.
Hey guys, can you still see my screen? Let me know once we're ready to start.
Unmuted.
Yep, you can. I can see your screen. We're gonna get started in about 2 minutes. Everybody on the line, thank you for joining today's Partner Perspective webinar with Siteplug. We're gonna give everybody about 2 more minutes to join, and we'll get started.
Thank you, Sean.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us today for our Partner Perspective webinar with Siteplug. We are really excited to have Siteplug with us to explain a little bit about their company, their offering, what they do, and how they could solve some challenges you may have. Today, we're going to have Bharat Sharma that's going to present first, and he's going to pass it along to some of his colleagues. If you have any questions, you could submit them in the question tab on your toolbar throughout the presentation. We'll hold those questions to the very end, and as long as we have some time, we'll cover those for you. The webinar will be recorded today, and we will also be providing the presentation deck in a thank you email tomorrow, so you will receive that. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Bharat so we can start the presentation. Bharat?
Hey guys, thank you, Sean. Hey guys, so my name is Bharat Sharma, and I'll be actually taking you through our company Affinity. I'll be giving you a quick introduction about our various products that Affinity owns, and giving you a little background about myself. So let's start with that. So I'm the Vice President of Affinity Global, and my responsibility is to head the sales, advertising demand globally for Siteplug and VB. Giving you a little knowledge about Affinity. So we have been in the AdTech business since the past 14 years, and we are headquartered out of Chicago. And as of date, we own about 5 different AdTech companies. Each of these companies solve a unique advertiser or a publisher specific problem. So just giving you, like, this is affinity.com. You can always come to our website and get to know everything about how our products work and what are the different problems they solve. On this call today, I'll be basically taking you guys through 2 of our advertiser facing products, that is VB and Siteplug. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to kind of put it on chat. I will be taking you through the VB presentation, taking a quick break in the middle, and passing it over to my colleagues Sagar and Karishma, who'll be taking you over Siteplug. So yeah, before we kind of get into it, I would also like to introduce my team to everyone here. So I have Sagar on the call with me, who heads our sales for Siteplug, and Karishma, who works with him on the Siteplug and manages our direct advertiser brand relationships. Whereas I have Seher, who heads our sales for VB. So yeah, kind of starting off our introduction about VB without wasting any time. All right, so what is VB? So VB is a performance marketing platform that allows brands to target consumers via the handset manufacturers. What are OEMs? So OEMs mean original equipment makers. Original equipment makers include iPhone, Samsung, LG, Lava, and there are about 20 plus global leading handset makers in the world. BB's vision is to help brands from all across the globe connect with these handset makers with the help of unique advertising units, which are created by BB today. So we are achieving this today with the help of our global partnerships with our handset makers. For example, we are partnered with Samsung out of Korea. We are partnered with Oppo, Vivo, Xiaomi out of China, ZTE, Alcatel. We are partnered with Positivio out of Latin America. So similarly, we are partnered with various handset makers from all across the globe. And these makers today are selling their phones all across the globe. Like, for example, an iPhone is sold globally, but it's widely used in the US, where similarly for that, Samsung is used widely in Brazil, and the Chinese makers are widely used in India. So each have their own distribution abilities and advantages, etc., and we help them monetize every application that comes pre-bundled inside the phone. That's the core vision that BB has, and we also create formats. So the focus is to create formats which are non-intrusive, do not hamper user experience, and also drive performance for brands. So that's the main vision of BB, creating native ad formats and making this consumer base today, which wasn't available, which wasn't accessible to brands, making it available to them today from across the globe. So just giving you a little R&D about why this ad unit today is so important. So today we have done our research. We have conducted multiple layers of research, and we have identified the amount of time these users spend on certain areas of the phone. Like, for example, about 80% of the users spend their time on the notification center. Like for today, I would assume half of us, when we get up, we will check our notification center, see the messages, and go back to sleep again. Similar to that, so that's an area where a user today literally spends good enough amount of time every day, which makes that unit pretty hot. Similar to that, a browser. Today, about 50% of users spend an hour on their browsers. So we won't notice it, but every consumer, every internet user is accessing the browser about 5 times a day today, and which makes it a very hot spot. And app stores. So about 10% of the users globally access the app store every day to download an app. Again, it's an area where we can promote our brands because users on these specific areas of the phone every day. So based off this research, we have created ad units, which are basically which will fit perfectly and natively into these sections of the phone, such as tiles on browser start pages, notification ads in the notification center, offers engine on -1 screens, inside apps, inside the keypads, and also these units can be used to drive app installs for brands globally. Going into the format, so the first format would be tiles, and giving you a quick update on what tiles are. So today, when every phone is sold, it's sold with a default browser. Like for example, today when an iPhone is sold, it's sold with a Safari default browser. And every time you open the default browser, you would see a set of bookmarks or like tiles. Now, this ad unit specifically is powered by BB. We are not working with iPhone today, but we are literally working with every other phone maker other than the iPhone, such as Samsung. We are working with them. So every time you buy a Samsung phone and it comes with a default browser, and when you access that browser, you would see a set of bookmarks or tiles embedded inside that browser, and those tiles are powered by BB today. Similar to that, we're working with Oppo, we are working with Vivo, we are working with Xiaomi, we are doing strategic deals with LG, we are in talks with Sony, Motorola, etc., etc., and Positivio, as I said, in Latin America as well. So we are providing the solution to various handset makers and making this space monetizable today for brands and applications. A few features to talk about here would be we can target based on city state. So for example, if your brand today is only serviceable in a specific state or a city, we have the ability of powering our tiles to users only from that specific state or city. We have an algorithm built on our backend, which actually makes our service more interactive. Like for example, today, when a user opens the browser, there could be like two different kinds of users. One of the kind of users that always shop on a Walmart, and the second kind of users which will always shop on an Amazon, though you get the same products from both these services. Now, if a specific user is clicking on Amazon constantly and user 2 is clicking on Walmart, our technology on the backend has the ability of recommending the right website to the user based on interaction. So we, based off our algorithm, our targeting mechanism, we can ensure that only the users which are interacting with your website, only those users the tiles are shown to. So this is all automatically happening. And this is eventually done to increase interaction, one, and increase conversion rates is the second one. Because more the users interact, higher the conversion rates, and eventually we help achieve the advertiser KPIs. And the third most important thing would be it's available on mobile and desktop. So we are working with a handful of desktop browsers as well. They are based out of the US, and we have the ability of placing the tiles on the desktop start pages as well. Getting into the second format, so this is a quick user flow. The user opens the browser, sees the tiles, interacts with your brand by clicking on the tile, and eventually goes and makes a transaction. The second format, notification ads. So as mentioned earlier, while we're kind of giving you an insight about 80% of users spending about at least some valuable time of their day on their notification center instead of unlocking their phone. That's what makes this property pretty hot. It's like today every user will see the notification, might not interact with that notification, but eventually will still, if the deal or discount is exclusive or the deal or discount is very tempting, it will create an ability for the user to transact with that offer. So push notification is basically used to provide these deals and discounts, make these deals and discounts available in front of the consumers that do not open the browser. This can be used to basically drive reach, since the users do not have to open their, like for example, a Google or Facebook today, to show an ad, you have to literally go on a Google or a Facebook. But today, since we are working with these software applications, like for example, the default browser that's in the phone, or it could be a utility application such as a calculator, it could be a battery saver, and they are abundant of various applications that are bundled along with the phone when a phone is made. We have the ability of sending a notification ad to all the consumers that have these applications inside their phone, and only to the users that have given consent to receive such notifications. The kind of brand, so basically any content relevant advertisements, any exclusive deals or discounts, any offers such as Mother's Day offers, Valentine's Day offers, or time, all such trends stuff convert extremely well on the notification center. That's what we have kind of testing with all our brands. And basically we are changing the language. Obviously, we have the capability of servicing regions such as Brazil, Indonesia, etc. as well. So if you would like to send notification in local languages, we can do that. Obviously, we can do English as well. And we have the ability of changing these notifications on a daily basis as well. So if you do provide us the creatives on a day-to-day basis or deals and discounts which the brand, we have the ability of putting these new creatives to our user base on a daily basis. We do have the ability of controlling the time and the day of the notification as well. Also, another interesting thing we can do with notification ads would be since we're working with all these handset makers, and what we have done on our backend to kind of make targeting better, to drive better interactions, to drive better conversion rates, we have tagged users based on the handset that they own. Like, for example, there are a range of users owning handsets from less than $100. Then there are users that which own handsets between $100 to users that own handsets of dollars going upwards to $1,000. What we have noticed is users that own expensive phones love buying expensive things. If expensive like luxury product would sell better if we are targeting more expensive devices. We have profile users based on the device that they own, based off the price of the device. And there are three types of profiles that we have done: low profile, mid profile, high profile, and based on the product the brand is selling or the kind of consumer that the brand wants to target, we have this ability of achieving this via push. And the last is we can do it on mobile and desktop. As I said, we are working with the browsers from various applications. So since we are working with desktop browsers as well, we have the ability of showing a notification every time the user that specific job and format DB. Looking for deals and discounts. Basically, with the help of our partnerships with, we have created our own ONO properties inside these in various places. Like for example, inside the default browser, we have our own ONO property called as deals and discounts. Inside -1 screens of phones, we have our property as an SDK or an API sitting inside the -1 screen where we are covering exclusive deals, offers, discounts every time users swipes -1 their phone. We have the specific user. So based on that, we have basically created demand of about users that are lacking deals and discounts. And basically all the brands that are working with us, we start showing up their deals and discounts, all these owned and operated properties, and based on the CTRs, basically based on conversion rates, based on how good the deal is, or based on the how much the advertiser is paying us, and our algorithm, automatically the offers will show up to the user in that specific order. So yeah, so today these were three of our key ad formats which are used to drive our brands, and along with that reach as well, because since these OEMs, for example, Samsung today can help gain your brand access to over 30 million plus users. Similar to that, if there are smaller browsers as well, in the range of 10 million users, and today if your brand is accessible to these users in such hotspots, in such areas where the brand on a day-to-day basis would help eventually increase awareness, increase transactions, performance, conversion rates, etc. Everything along with your brand. So BB creates that opportunity for your brands where your brand can access these unique ad formats, get reach, and drive performance as well. Yeah, and another format. So this is not basically used to drive performance, but it's used to drive installs. Since we are working with all these OEMs that are handset makers, you need to know that every handset maker in the world, which is a Samsung, Vivo, Oppo, Xiaomi, all of them own their own app stores. Even, for example, an iPhone has their own Apple app store. And there's a whole different world inside the app store. Like, for example, there are top apps, trending apps, search apps, banners, etc. And with the help of our partnerships with these OEMs, we have the ability of promoting your app inside these app stores as well. Like for a few formats on the screen that you can see is like a banner which is popped up every time an app store is on, a push notification ad, a banner ad, a top trending app. So we can power such sponsorships to drive installs for your app stores. Sorry, for your apps within the app stores. Yeah. So today, brands can go live on BB and can leverage all these specific formats to basically get reach and achieve their performance objectives as well. And giving your idea about the reach, we have access to about 250 million plus users globally. We are growing really fast, so if brands start working with us, every time we add a new application, our brand partners directly get access to that based on the format they want to choose. So today brands can have the ability of choosing a specific format as well. That's our reach. These are our partners. Samsung being the biggest in North America, but obviously we are, as mentioned, we are partnered with over 50 plus applications in the mobile and desktop space, various browsers, various keypad applications, extensions, various developers, and OEM owned applications as well. These are our top partners, a few of our top brand partners. So we're working with brands from all verticals. The specific verticals that work really well for me are e-commerce, obviously, and there's finance that works really well. Telecommunication works really well, and gaming right now. Since travel as a vertical used to work really well for VD, but since post-COVID, I'm not sure about what's going to happen with that vertical, but that has got exchanged with gaming. We have seen great success with our gaming brands, which are leveraging formats such as tiles, notification ads to promote their brand. And similarly, as I said, finance, telco, and all the other internet services work really well as well for me. So that's a little about BD. And now I will hand this over to my colleagues, Sagar and Karishma. These guys will give you a quick overview on Siteplug. While that transition happens, actually, I'm open to answering any questions or queries that you might have about BB. And yeah, we can just kind of move over to Siteplug post that.
I think we're taking questions right at the end on the chat.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, Karishma, I can see your screen.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, Bharat. Thank you for that piece of information. Before I kind of, continue on talking about Siteplug, I'd like to introduce myself first. I am Sagar Joshi, and I am heading sales for North America on the Siteplug side of the business. Siteplug actually is in business for the last almost 5 years. BB has been one of the latest additions in the Affinity umbrella about 2 or 3 years back. Siteplug originally started with the sole intention of telling brands about misspellings and typographical errors. Today, over the last couple of decades, there has been an industry that kind of thrives around misspellings. And before Siteplug kind of incepted, people and various networks used to monetize these misspellings in the most random manner, and this is our version of kind of securing the user for various advertisers. Today, about brands are losing out about 5 to 10% of their organic users to misspellings. Our goal is to ensure that 99.9% of the times we want to safeguard the user by not letting them land on random park pages, which could of course damage the reputation of the brand and eventually cause heavy losses. So as we identified this flaw in the World Wide Web, we decided to take a different approach, and we want to educate brands about these occurrences. So over the last 4 years, I've had the amazing opportunity to kind of attend a lot of shows, meet some of you guys from different agencies, various networks, and kind of telling them about this problem. A lot of them were not aware of this, but then of course through over the last few years, we've made sure that we want to secure these high intent users for all the brands that are spending their budgets online on getting their ads exposed to various users. So how this happens is it happens through two key methods. I think Karishma will be taking you through that, of how we solve this problem exactly in two different ways. Karishma, go for it.
Hi guys, this is Karishma here. So I'm just going to pick up from where Sagar left off. And give you a little bit more insight into what Siteplug is and just exactly how we solve this issue for brands. So like Sagar mentioned, what Siteplug is essentially is we're a technology solution, and we autocorrect browsing errors and enhance user experience for people that are searching for your brand online. So there are two main solutions through which we do this. The first one is called Site Direct, through which we correct domain errors. And the second one is Site Suggest, which is a keyword autocorrection and keyword recommendation platform. So I'll give you a little bit more insight into each one of them. So we begin with Site Direct. So basically what we do with Site Direct is every time a user is directly navigating to your website, a lot of times what happens is they end up making spelling errors, like in the case of this example here with Target. So what happens in such cases is there are 4 instances that could occur. The first one is they land on a parked page, which usually happens about 70 to 80% of the times. What happens on parked pages is you end up seeing a lot of competitor ads, and the user is drawn away from your website. The second instance is they could land on an error page, in which case you might lose out the user entirely. The third is they land on malicious or spam websites, which prompt illicit downloads and could majorly harm the reputation of your website. And finally, and maybe perhaps the worst outcome, is that they land directly on competitor websites. What we do with Site Direct is we identify such users, and instead of letting them land on any of such pages wherein you could lose the user to a competitor or lose them entirely, we redirect that user to the homepage of your website. We do this across all sorts of spelling errors that are related to your website, and on TLD errors as well. So essentially what we're doing with Site Direct is we're making sure that every time a user is maybe seeing your ad through any other platform, or they're interacting with, or they've come across your brand and they want the first instance is you pull out your phone or you go on your laptop, you type in the domain name and you search for the brand. We're making sure that when this transition is happening and the user is trying to engage and interact with your brand, they actually do end up doing so. And another advantage of Site Direct essentially is that most of the users that you will end up seeing coming through your website through this solution will be users that may have never interacted with your website before. So yeah, so essentially about how Site Direct works, to be able to redirect this traffic back to your website, we have partnered up with some of the biggest domain parking companies that exist out there. We do not, so these are some of the domain parking companies that we work with. What we do is we get access to these domains through our partnerships with these companies, and through these partnerships, we're then able to redirect this traffic back to your website, ensuring that your users don't end up interacting or getting lost while trying to engage with you. So that is the first integration, wherein we make sure that every user that is trying to directly navigating to your website does actually end up reaching their brand destination. So that is the first solution. The second solution, and this is a newer addition to our Siteplug, is Site Suggest. The Site Suggest is a pretty interesting integration. With Site Suggest, what we've done is we've gone and we've partnered up with a bunch of third-party browsers and keyboard applications, and now we power search suggestions through them. So essentially, what would happen is usually when you start searching on a search engine, when you put in your search query, you usually get a bunch of recommendations, like you can see in the first example here, wherein the search engine will give you recommendations based on the query you're typing in. What we've done is through our partnerships, we are now able to recommend your brand name based on what the user is searching. So if you could see here, for example, as soon as the user starts searching for a brand or any of your brand keywords or any generic keywords which are related to your brand, in the case of this example, like if they're searching for hotels.com or, like cheap hotels, along with the suggestions that the search engine gives, we are able to give a drop down of a sponsored listing with your brand name and your brand logo. As soon as the user clicks on this, they'll be taken directly to the homepage of your website. So essentially what we're doing here is we're trying to switch over the entire search ecosystem into a one-click model, wherein, as soon as you start searching, instead of going to the results page as you would otherwise, we are taking the user directly to your brand's homepage. The one major advantage here is if the user actually ends up going on the results page, it's not necessary that the first ad or the first result that shows up is your brand. And they might end up interacting with competitors and not transact with your brand at all. This ensures that that is cut down entirely. Another advantage here is if the user does not end up clicking on a recommendation, where at least we're putting your brand name, your brand logo out there, so it has sort of a dual branding effect out there as well. So that is our second solution within Siteplug. So Siteplug as a whole, what we're trying to do is we're trying to make the whole search, it solves the wholesome problem in the search ecosystem, be it domain related or keyword related, but making sure that every time any user who is trying to interact with your brand or is looking for something which is similar to your brand, your website or your brand name is recommended, and they do end up engaging with your brand. So that is Siteplug. These are some of our Site Suggest partners that we're partnered with. Includes some of the top keyboards. We're also partnered with phone manufacturers directly, and power search suggestions through their default browsers as well. So that is Siteplug. Another thing that which is really important for brands to understand about Siteplug is the incremental value that Siteplug drives for a brand. So we get this question a lot from brands when they're working with us, because what we essentially do is they end up asking us questions like, how can you tell that the user wouldn't end up coming to our website anyway, and how can you be so sure that, our users are loyal, they're going to end up interacting with us anyway. To solve this problem, what we did was we ran a test with one of our top travel partners, wherein instead of letting the users go to a parked page when they made a spelling error like they would, we took them to a page which was hosted by us, but had the look and the feel of a parked page. What we did was, along with the ad for that particular brand, so in case of this example, when the user was trying to go to trivago.com and ended up making an error, they came to a parked page which had an ad for Trivago, but along with that and had ads for other competitors that we were working with, like a booking.com or an Expedia. What we noticed was, in spite of the fact that the user was trying to go to trivago.com and the trivago.com ad was present on the parked page, 35% of the users ended up interacting with competitor brands. Another 15 to 20% of the users did not interact with any brands, including Trivago itself. Out of the 35% users that actually went and clicked on competitor ads, 10% of them ended up converting into paid users for that brand. So what we proved here was, first of all, the users are not loyal. Most days, what users are looking for nowadays is the best deal or the best value that they can get for their money. So the loyalty that users have for brands is drastically reducing. Another thing we noticed was, even though the Trivago ad was there, users didn't end up clicking on it. So they didn't go and correct the error or didn't end up transacting with Trivago at all. They transacted with competitor brands. So essentially what we do is, and of these users that did transact with competitor brands, 50% of these users were new users who have never transacted with the brand before. So not only do we drive high intent users, we drive new users to your website, and we make sure that you do not lose out on these users who want to interact and will end up interacting with your brand. So that is what Siteplug does. A few key features about Siteplug is, first of all, we see extremely high conversion rates for Siteplug. The main reason for this being that because the users are high on intent, if they actually do end up reaching your brand, chances are that they will interact with it. So we end up seeing conversion rates about anywhere between 5 to 8% for most of our partners. Another key feature is, like I said, most of the users that you will get will be new users who may have never interacted with your brand before. So that's about it for Siteplug. These are some of our top partners for Siteplug that we're working with. So Siteplug does really well across all different verticals. Like Bharat said, that BD as a product, well, maybe in few key verticals in your as a product does well across most, but we've seen brands, we've seen tremendous success, especially in e-commerce. We've now seen education, which is trending for us right now. So yeah, that's it for me. Sagar, do you want to hello?
Thank you, Karishma, for the detailed, explanation. Yeah, I think that's about it for all of us. To sum it up, VV has stupendous reach, as Bharat mentioned, partnering up with different and unique ad formats, with different phone manufacturers globally, as well as in the US. Today, if your brands want that kind of exposure, we are able to give you that. With Siteplug, it's more driven on the user intent. So we kind of take care of, the misspellings that people have generally been ignoring for the last decade or two, and then kind of evolving the same product on the keyword side with Site Suggest. Again, partnering up with a bunch of browsers to kind of recommend the most relevant ad. So these are our two unique offerings for brands in the US specifically. And I think we'll be happy to take any questions that you guys may have. I'm already started receiving a couple of them.
Guys, thank you so much for the incredible presentation for Siteplug and Vivi. It looks like we have a few questions here, and I could call those out for you guys right now. During the Vivi presentation, we had a question from Lou that was, who is your largest US handset partner?
Okay, so I can answer that. So that would be Samsung, obviously, the most popular one. But yeah, as I mentioned, we are working out deals with LG, Motorola, Sony. In the due course of time, we should be live as well.
Awesome. So Lou actually had a follow-up question, and it was, what is the cost to start?
All right. So Lou, the cost to start is basically we charge our brands on various business models, ranging from CPC to CPS. There's no tech integration involved in this. It's just the commercial that we need to discuss. A or CPC is something that we need to go over.
Okay. Next question.
But yeah, we're open to both. Hopefully that answers it.
Okay. So next question. What commission rate does Siteplug require?
I can answer that. Rachel, for Siteplug, yeah, generally we do start off with anything between, I would say, a 8 to 12% range. However, today to drive performance, we are generally open to start on the base commissions, and then we are constantly driving performance, and then hopefully getting better payouts. So we're flexible again on this as well.
Right. Just to add to what Sagar said, so for Siteplug, like he said, we don't mind starting off on the base commission, and usually how this works is after a couple of weeks we do come back to the brand or whoever our contact is, whether it's an agency, a brand, and we tell them that we give them a detailed breakdown of the performance we have driven and how much we can scale, and we can give pretty accurate estimates so as to just what the full potential that we can drive for the brand.
Okay, great. Next question from Liz. She has a two-part question. Are we able to pick and choose what components of Siteplug our brands are enabled, and is there a minimum commission?
Yes, absolutely. You can pick and choose, not just in Siteplug, but also in BV, which of the ad formats you'd like to opt for. It could be just tiles or just notification ads in Siteplug. It could be either Site Direct or it could be just Site Suggest. We are open to testing both. Commissions, as I think we just kind of answered a couple of minutes back, base commissions are fine. A higher commission always helps, but we are constantly thriving on driving performance. So it would be good to kind of keep getting better payouts and keep consistently performing, which usually happens with majority of the brands out there.
Great, thank you. It looks like that is all the questions. Guys, if you have any questions, please submit them through the question tab. We'll wait another minute to see if anything else comes through. But thank you to the entire Affinity team, guys. Thank you for walking us through Siteplug and VV. We really appreciate you participating. Guys, if you have any questions for them further that you want to take offline, they have their information here on this slide to email them. This also deck, the presentation and the recording will be sent out to you guys tomorrow. So all of this information will be available to you. Guys, it looks like that's all the questions we have. So thank you so much for presenting today with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for your time. And I hope everyone is indoor safe and healthy. And we will be coming out of this very shortly, I hope.
Likewise. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for being here, and thank you, Sean, for helping us set this up and taking us through everything.
Of course, my pleasure. Thank you, guys. Everybody have a safe and a great rest of their day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.